Hello everyone, welcome friends to another video on the Majula Code channel video. Today we'll take a look at a difficult and heartbreaking case of 20-year-old Adam Falcon, who went missing in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2004 in Canton, New York, just 11 months prior to Albert Campbell's disappearance and only 11 miles away in Potsdam, New York. So, as promised, we're going to get into this one. This is a key case covered by Gannon and Gilbertson as well as David Polides, and you'll quickly realize why this one is a bit more not special or important, just the evidence in it points to something very, very, very sinister. Even though these two cases, Adam's and Albert's, are very similar, Adam's case received more attention in the media and from the authorities. There were pieces of evidence in Mr. Falcon's case that, although valuable, did not add up to a logical progression of physical events. All right. Adam was a great soccer player at a high school in Victor, New York, near Rochester, and he jumped at the chance to enroll in Canton St. Lawrence University to play collegiate soccer. Adam also volunteered to teach summer courses in camps for youngsters in soccer, and he excelled in most of his classes at the university. On the evening of November 12th, 2004, Adam finished dinner and went out to watch a St. Lawrence Hockey University game at 7 p.m. At 9:15, Adam left the hockey rink and proceeded to join some friends at a party at Don Eaton dormitory and stayed there until 10 p.m. He then proceeded to walk to a coffee house to listen to some music, and he left the coffee house at 11 p.m. and afterwards attempted to enter a bar using some fake ID, but he was denied entry. At 11:30, we have a record of Adam using his college access card to return to the party at the dormitory. He left the party again, and at 12:30 a.m. on November 13th now, and entered the TikTok Inn bar located at 11 Hodgkin Street. Witnesses stated that they saw him there and they saw him leave the establishment at 1:38 a.m. through a back door, and that was the last time Adam would be seen live. Adam did not report to his soccer match on the 13th of November, and immediately after the match ended, he was nowhere to be found. His friends and colleagues attempted to call him, to text him, to get in touch with him, but with no luck. At 10 p.m. on that same day, on November 13th, Adam was reported missing. A huge search ensued with hundreds of volunteers and professionals scouring the area, and the area of the Grass River close to the TikTok bar Inn was also searched in detail by 30 divers. So the river was searched by divers and the surrounding area was searched by volunteers and dogs and tracking dogs. In the meantime, other search teams did find his baseball cap and cell phone a few blocks away from the river. The insanely odd details were that there was no scent for tracking dogs from these items. So take that into consideration. And just like in the case of Jelani Brinson and Dean Mortensen, you can see my missing motive video for that case, the baseball cap has been found separately, so not together with the other item. And it was found between two old buildings. And furthermore, Adam's cell phone was found in a separate location on top, not inside, on top of a leaf pile on the porch of a church rectory. On November 18th, 2004, at 4:55 p.m., a dive search team was focusing on an area of the slow-moving grass river behind Knights of Columbus Hall at 30 Minor Street Road in Canton. And just a few hundred feet away from that area is a 7-Eleven convenience store and the Canton Justice Courthouse. And you would assume both of those buildings would have CCTV cameras, and I checked. One of them for sure does, and you would hope that something would be on that. This was not specified in the investigation, but definitely something worth looking at. The team focused on the search team in the river focused on a deep 7-foot sinkhole that was searched before with witnesses on November 16th. And after looking into it, they did find a body. And it turned out to be that of Adam. He was found with his shoes on, but his pants are missing, later to be found down the river in a shallow area. Detectives Gannon and Gilbertson, who looked at this case afterwards, after it was completed, stated, after reviewing the case, that the body's location vis-a-vis the baseball cap and cell phone made absolutely no sense. The other thing that made no sense is that the search dogs did not pick up a scent around 30 Minor Street Road by the Knights of Columbus Hall. Furthermore, the detectives found it very difficult to accept that Adam's jeans were not only somehow off of his body, but that they were found 80 feet downstream. Not to mention Adam's wallet that was found upstream. Again, very difficult to reconcile those details. The coroner made a ruling that Adam got hypothermia and fell asleep outside. The temperature that night got down to 17 degrees Fahrenheit. The coroner further concluded that after falling asleep, Adam woke up and went into the water. Just take that for a second and think how much sense that makes. Adam's dad, Gannon and Gilbertson, did not buy this at all and believed that this conclusion was ridiculous. Remember, these are two retired detectives that have seen thousands of cases that are saying this. The detectives concluded, based on Adam's rigidity, that Adam died sometime on November 16th. Adam's lividity, which is the settling of the blood post-mortem to the lowest part of the victim's body, was found in several locations. Yet he was found clearly lying on his side at the bottom of this deep hole in the water. Now that particular piece of evidence could be found normal because he was in the river, so he technically could have been tumbling as the current was taking him along. However, remember, this river was very slow moving, and this 7-foot sinkhole was one of the deepest parts of the river in that area. So there was that, and plus that whole area was searched for the entire time when he was missing, right? The final piece of evidence that did not make any sense was the state of decomposition. Adam's body was in very good condition, so good in fact that his family was able to have an open casket. In summary, the evidence points to a scenario where Adam was taken and held against his will for 2 or 3 days, killed, and then slipped into the water after the 16th of November. That's what the evidence suggests. When Adam's dad was told of the pathologist's conclusions, he later told Gannon and Gilbertson that they were telling him and expecting him to believe. Let me start it again, guys. When Adam's dad was told of the pathologist's conclusions, he later told Gannon and Gilbertson that what they were telling him and expecting him to believe he was basically in the moment holding back from reaching out and slapping the entire group of police officers, because what they were telling him was so preposterous. It was just so ridiculous. They insulted his intelligence, and we see other instances like this on this channel where not only the parents but the public is being insulted with the conclusions given by the authorities. They're being expected to believe a bunch of fairy tales that would conclude the case, but make absolutely no sense, right, to any regular thinking person that is presented the evidence of the case plus the conclusions, right? They had very little factual data to support the theory they were presenting, so they were filling in gaps with grandiose, possibilities that made absolutely no sense, and they had no evidence to back that up. But they were expecting him to believe it because it wasn't a crime. They had no suspect, they had no motive, and they had no reason to keep this case in the public eye because it would create more questions, uncomfortable questions that I deal with on this channel that most of the people in the regular life and public eye don't have time for, right? They have, so the overwhelming feeling of the meeting between Adam's dad and the authorities was, let's get this out to him, let's close this case as soon as possible and move on as an accidental drowning, which is basically the case with every single case that I deal with on this channel. Let's just move it along, nothing to see here, go back to your life, sorry about your loss, if that is ever stipulated. Even that sometimes doesn't even make it out of the lips of the authorities, right? So after hearing the details of the case and seeing the conclusions of the authorities, is it any wonder that Adam's dad was mad, frustrated, and insulted? I would be, if I was in his shoes, right? My heart goes out to the Falcon family over the tragic death of Adam. One last thing to consider is the following. Adam Falcon's case and that of Albert Campbell's from October of 2005 were similar enough that two officers made it down to Potsdam to assist in the Campbell case that was also concluded as an accidental drowning. In other words, if Adam's case was, according to authorities, accidental drowning, then why did they bother to assist in another accidental drowning case months later? Right? What's did maybe their conscience get to them a little bit, you think? Also, what kind of reaction would you expect from the local community? Here's another question. If case after case, like Adam's, compel the authorities to have a truly honest press conference where they admit that they are dumbfounded and cannot explain what is truly happening to these young men. Can you think of what would happen to these communities if they were honest about what the evidence is saying, truly honest, and not just move to the next case and put it down as accidental drowning? Please comment down below, guys, and thank you for watching. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I'll see you in my next video.